Hey, this is Teri M. Brown. I'm an author of 10 Little Rules for a Double-Butted Adventure. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I kind of get blindsided in this interview with my good friend, best-selling author Teri M. Brown, and you'll know why. The story about her cycling 3,102 miles, basically from the state of Washington to Washington, D.C. I believe it was. I'm sorry, Oregon to Washington, D.C. And she did it with her husband. And the lessons she learned on that journey and her kind of past just kind of brought her life full circle to the point where she's actually leaning in and living now. The lessons and knowledge nuggets we have, like when I interview authors, I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, we can pick up some structure and see how we can write a book and find out how character development happens and leveling up your life like that. But this hit me an emotional chord. And first time it happened in almost 500 interviews. It's just a fantastic, fantastic chat with my really good friend, Teri. So without further ado, maybe get the tissues ready, sit back, relax, and maybe take some notes on this. And if you like it, please hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. So here comes my really good friend, Teri M. Brown. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have someone that might have a little bit of a sore butt, even though it's been 5 years ago. My good friend here, Teri M. Brown. She's a fantastic author. She's authored some fictional books, which are just fantastic reads, some historical stuff, some medicinal stuff that are just actually absolutely fun, which I'll put those in the show notes and pick them up. But today, we're kind of going to talk about her little boot scoot, like dual bike ride with her husband back in 2020. My good friend Teri here was born in Athens, Greece as an Air Force brat. Now calls North Carolina coast her home. And again, in 2020, she and her husband Bruce rode a tandem bicycle across the United States from Astoria, Oregon to Washington, D.C., successfully raising money for Toys for Tots. Thank you very much for that. Her latest work, 10 Little Rules for a Double-Butted Adventure, launches February 2025. I know this will probably drop in March, but tomorrow it actually drops. So I'm actually get to talk to her right before her awesome sauce book drops, and I will be having a 2-book giveaway. So listen to the end, squad. And Teri, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Yeah, yellow. And
Yellow.
yeah, yellow. And I think it's because it just reminds me of summer.
Okay.
And I really don't like winter, and I love daffodils, and so they pop up first. They're the first
Yeah.
flower that pretty much says, "Hey, screw you, winter." And so there's just something about the yellow that
Love
I
it.
really love it.
And
So
it's built into this latest book. There's some yellow in
yes,
that book as
there
well.
is,
I
and
love it.
there's yellow in my office, and yeah,
Yes,
I love yellow. Yeah.
I love it. So, like, let's get kind of a little bit to the roots. You're
Okay.
born an Air Force brat, which is pretty
Right.
awesome. I'm not an Air Force brat because my dad was in the Air Force, but he got out before I was really even born. And I'm a
Right.
Navy guy, so him and I kind of like go back and forth a little bit about it, but just kind of jokingly, affectionately. But tell us a little bit about your roots and how you really started kind of developing the book writing. The reason why I'm saying this, Teri, is that I'm authoring my first book in that imposter syndrome, and I'm trying to
Oh,
lean
it's
into my
huge, isn't it?
intentions and stuff like that. And I'm pooping my pants kind of thing, putting
Right.
it out there. But like, let's kind of get to the roots, start, and then kind of bring us forward a little bit, please.
Okay, so I was born in Athens, Greece. My dad was on a joint Air Force base. I was actually born in a Greek hospital. So growing up, I had a dual citizenship, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. It was the
Right,
thing that kind of stand out among my peers, right?
right.
And growing up, I
That's
said I
awesome.
wanted to be an author, but I also said I wanted to be an Olympic ice skater and I wanted to be a brain surgeon. So I'm not
Oh,
really sure that I
you can
understood
do
what
all
I
three.
wanted.
That's
Yeah, I
easy.
was just gonna, and given that I'm klutzy and don't like this sight of blood, I'm not real sure I understood, what I was saying. As I grew up, I mean, I did some writing. I did all of the bad poetry that teenagers do, that kind of thing. But once it was time to go to college, my parents were never going to pay for something like a creative writing degree. I
Mm,
mean, their thought was is you need to go and like do something with your life. And so kind of like just put it on the back burner, got married, had children, divorced, got remarried. That was a horrible marriage, emotionally abusive.
sorry.
But while I was in that marriage, I started writing for small businesses. You figure this was around 2000, and there were a lot of websites popping up and people who had zero idea what they needed to put on them. And so they would write something and it was horrible. I mean, just terrible. And it was
There's no
like, you
chat
really,
GPT then, right?
no, no, and you definitely didn't want that representing who you were. So
Right, right.
I kind of found this little niche, and I did that for about 20 years, where I was just really working this system. That whole time, I really wanted to write, like to be an author,
Hmm.
to have books. I was terrified because you figure I'm living in this abusive relationship. I don't have a soft place to land. You're putting yourself out there to the world. If someone doesn't like it, oh my gosh, I couldn't stand to be hurt again. But in 2017, got out of that really bad relationship, and
Well, just recently then, kind of.
yeah, words started falling out of me. And so I wrote my first manuscript, which was
Love it.
horrible, but it was 50,000 words long and had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I just realized,
Yes.
you know what?
Yeah.
I can do it.
Right.
Now it's a matter of learning the craft.
Okay.
I've got it. Now just let's refine it. In
Okay.
the meantime, I met Bruce, and he tells everyone that he chased me until I caught him, which essentially means he didn't go away and he just kept sticking around. And he had this incredible idea to ride across the United States on a bicycle. He's wanted to
Okay.
do it since 76. Group of college kids did it during the bicentennial. He was in the military at the time and he really wanted to do it, but you can't take
Which was like
three
almost
months
50
off.
years ago, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So he's wanted to do this. And I looked at him and I said, like, is this one of those things you'll think about until the day you die? Or are you really going to do it? And he said, no, I really
Called them
want to do it.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, and
girl,
I
you
thought,
go.
you said, I want an adventure. I want to
Yeah.
do something big and bold because here I've been in this horrible relationship for a long time, and I'm thinking I don't have a lot of worth and all of this other stuff. I felt other people believed that too. So we decided we're going to ride across the United States. And in the summer of 2020, despite COVID and all of the other crap going on, we started in Astoria, rode the whole way across to Washington, D.C., 3,102 miles. I always add the two, I know exactly where they were. And the very end of that trip, I realized I just rode across the United States on a tandem bicycle. I can
Yeah.
do anything.
That's right, girl. That's
And
right.
what is it I want to do? And I
Yeah.
wanted to be an author. And so my first book came out 14 months later.
Wow. So it hasn't really been that long, but it's such an awesome
No.
read. Like, let me ask you something. Like, you got to have an abusive relationship. A lot of times,
Yeah.
identities, and again, being a coach, I have to ask this, right? So, a lot of identities are like beat down, feel like
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
just kind of like this. Okay, so what do you feel maybe sparked your reticular activating system or something that brought Bruce in? Like, what was it, do you feel? Did you change thinking, or was it just you were going about life and Bruce was a gift, or was like, did something change within your mind that
I
maybe
think
Bruce showed up?
I think Bruce was a gift partially.
Okay, awesome.
I think also that sometimes you just do something and you don't really know why. I
Yeah.
joined a dating site
Okay.
with no intention of dating.
Okay.
Okay, but I joined it because I was really feeling lonely
Hmm.
and I thought that I could have these flirty conversations, but I wasn't ever really planning to like meet people. I just
Right.
figured it can be like a computer thing and
Right.
that I
Right.
would be nice and safe because if anything ever didn't feel good, you could just like stop
Right.
responding.
Right.
And no, I kind of got over that and my membership was about to fall off. And 1 week before my membership fell off, Bruce joined.
Okay.
And he reached out to me and he was the worst computer dating person you've ever met in your life. He did not know the rules. He hadn't dated in years. And so the first thing he said was, "Hi, my name's Bruce Brown. Here's my phone number. Can I have yours?" And so
There's
being who
protocol,
I
Bruce.
am, yeah, being who I am, I wrote back and I said, "No. The reason women join these sites is to not give their phone number out immediately. For all I know, you're some creep."
Right.
Right?
Right.
And he writes back and says, "That's very prudent of you." And I'm thinking, who the hell is this guy?
Right. Who is
Right?
this guy?
And before long, we're talking. He asked me out on a date. I reluctantly went. I had a friend who kind of convinced me I needed to do this.
Okay.
And a little over a year later, we were married.
That's fantastic. It's
So
just you
yeah.
kind of know, right? It's like
Yeah.
that. that has that. I mean, I've been through a couple of marriages. When I met my Susan 6 years ago in 2019, it was just kind of the same thing where it's just like, yeah, I'll meet you for coffee, and then coffee is almost 72 months later.
Right.
So
Right.
that's amazing. So, okay, character development in books. Okay, I get you on mic here. Okay, so which you have people like Maggie, Carrie
Yeah.
Ann, Josie, right? You have
Right.
different characters. I believe Maggie was kind of the older, holistic
She was.
person.
Yeah.
Then you had Carrie Ann and Josie. What do you do to really, because I have authors out there that want me to ask you this kind of stuff. Like, what do you do to really kind of build characters? Do you like put it on a separate piece of paper, or like what do you do, or do you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants? I'm just very curious about that.
I am definitely a fly by my seat of the pants kind of person. I have
Okay,
tried the on paper thing.
sure.
My characters live in my head. And I know that makes me sound like
No,
nutty. I'm not, but they're there. And when I try to write things out on paper, I'm using this logical brain of mine, and my logical brain isn't nearly as fun and creative. And so if I'll let my characters talk to me, they're really just my creative part, right?
mm,
And so sometimes I'll try to write everything out. I know where this story is going, and my characters are lined up along the wall with their arms crossed, looking at me.
like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We would never do that. And it's
Sure.
like, no, 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 come along, we're doing this. And they're like, mm-mm, you let us know when you're done with that stupid little experiment of yours, and then we'll get started again.
Okay.
And I've had my characters become silent for 6 weeks, waiting for me to finally give up on my stupid little outline and go back to doing what I do, which is just, I don't know. I feel like I have a real connection with people. I'm really good at discerning people, well, all but one. And I'm really good at conversation and knowing what dialogue really feels like when you're in a good conversation, the
Yeah.
difference between that and a
Kind of
stilted
like us
one.
off mic before this. Like we were just flowing
Yeah.
with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that what I do is I just kind of like handle that. And I
Mm,
say, okay, I'm Maggie. And I always put myself in the character's place, always. And I'll
mm.
say, I'm Maggie. What do I do here in this situation, given who I am? And then I just start writing it.
Love it.
And it just comes out. And then I switch characters, and now I'm Carrie Ann. And I know that Carrie Ann thinks everything her mother does is hogwash.
Right.
And then I put myself into a situation. Have I ever been around someone where I think everything they do is hogwash? Well, yes, I have. Well, let's
Right.
see. How did I feel like that? How would Carrie Ann respond at this point?
Sure. Love it.
And that's what I do. I just kind of stick myself in that position. And if I really, really don't know,
Mhm.
then I do a little research. There's nothing better. And some of the best research for finding out how people interact with one another, social media. Like
100%.
get on there and just start looking at how are
Yeah.
people responding. And you
Like
find,
like as a third person, like not emotionally,
yeah,
just kind of like curious,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay. So when did they
yeah.
start kind of like unfolding their arms and trusting you?
I think that as soon as they realize that I'm not going to force whatever my logical brain thinks should come next in the story.
Love it. Okay.
Because books, though logical, really for me aren't. They're emotional, and they have been even when I'm a reader. I like to get invested. I want to become part of the book. I want to become the character. I want
Mm.
to feel their feelings. I want to see what they're seeing. And, and yeah, there's maybe a logical flow to it, but I've read enough books that I think I naturally know what that logical flow is. So when I'm trying to be Terry the list maker, it just doesn't go over
Doesn't
well.
fly.
And my
Yeah.
characters say, "Well, you stop making the lists and then we'll play the game."
Right. You know what I
But
found
until
work?
then, yeah.
You know what I found work for me, Terry, is that I use what I actually a something I use with even my coaching clients is I tell them when they're stuck, I tell them throw up on your keyboard. I go, I
Yeah,
don't want you to check pronunciation. I don't want you to read
exactly.
a freaking word. You just
Just
keep typing. And if you
right.
don't know how to
Call it
type,
word vomit.
right, yes, thank you. Yeah, let's throw up on the keyboard, right?
Right.
And then give it 24 to 48 hours,
Absolutely.
revisit it. And if there's a structure there, listen, I finally listened to my own coaching, right? And I built characters for my
Right.
business parable, Harmonic Hustle. It's kind of like a real estate broker that is losing a big deal, wants to quit the business, goes and talks
Right.
to his millennium cocky broker. And he's like, listen, my dad, who's a legend in the business, said, if I ever want to quit, like the millennial cocky broker grew a heart and said, here, talk to these 5 people. So there's 5 characters that they meet for being present, disciplined, and on and on.
Right.
And that's how it actually worked for me, is I just was like, okay, this is a Navy SEAL, a guy I served with in Iraq, like guy I worked for, right,
Right.
in real life. But then I just threw up on there and said, this is who he is. And then all of a sudden, I think he started unfolding his arms too. And you
Yeah.
just
Like,
got that
okay.
in my freaking head now that
Right.
that's what I'm going to do. You're
Yeah.
like, yes, man, that's awesome. Like, you have no
Yeah.
idea. Like, and if you're an aspiring author out there, folks, like, one, get out of your own way and just get it done. But two, like this metaphor of having the character standing there almost looking over your shoulder, disapproving, but then getting them to trust you really brings them into character. That's
Yes.
awesome. Thank you. Like that
You're
lesson
welcome.
right there, you should be on stage teaching that. And I'm not
Oh,
even
well.
kidding.
Okay. Well, you can book me tomorrow. No.
You know what I'm saying? Like for reals, Terry, that is
Yeah.
like something that is amazing that just unlocked something in my head that I just wrote down a note to remember after we're done to get back into the book and change some stuff. Okay,
Right.
about you
Right.
now. Okay, this isn't about my therapy session and learning how to write. Okay, the coaching session. So, what happens when you don't have anything to write, but you do have something to write? Like, you know what I'm saying? You kind of have
Yeah.
that. Like, what is your exercise to overcome? I don't want to call it writer's block because it gets labeled too much. But
Yeah. It
like, you
is labeled
just
in.
like
So,
what?
so to me,
Yeah,
let's just talk about that word writer's block really
sure,
quickly.
please.
Writer's block to me doesn't exist per se. What it means is that there's too much going on in your brain to let your creative side out. Your creativity has to have space to exercise. It has to have place to come out and play because creativity is a very playful thing. It requires you to say what if and I wonder and try things that are different. And if your whole brain is crammed with 1,000 to-do lists and 3 things that you've got to fix and haven't fixed yet, there's no space for your creativity. So for me, when I'm feeling that way, I know I need to fix something. And maybe it's I need to look seriously at whatever problem it is that has me all bound up. Can I fix it? Can I put it in a box and put it away for later? Can I give it a date? I'm going to speak with so and so on Wednesday about this, and then I can put it in away in a box until Wednesday. That sometimes helps. And then the other thing for me is getting out. I get out in nature. I love walking on the beach. I live very close to the beach. And
I'm
so
looking
I'll
at it
get out.
myself. Yeah, I
Yeah, I'll
got you.
get out on the beach and I'll walk. And the first part of my walk is what I call storming. And I'm walking. I'm not even, I'm not enjoying it. I'm just, and all of the ugly is like falling off of me. And I warn people probably don't walk too close behind me. Who knows what you're going to pick up back there? There's a lot of junk. But by the end of the walk,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm kind of walking with the waves. I have a calmer,
found harmony.
I yeah, and at the end of that walk, the number of times where I
This
have
is
come up
awesome.
with 3 or 4 really cool ideas,
Yeah,
and I quick talk them into my phone in
yeah,
my so
100%.
that because I'll get home and my crazy mind will have forgotten them by then.
Yeah,
But then now it's like, there it is.
right.
Now I can write.
Yeah,
But it's finding a way to like clear the clutter so that
sure.
your creativity has that place to play.
That man, you're good. And the reason why I'm saying this is that I think balance is junk. You put 10 pounds, 10 pounds. It's even there's you when you're born and you die, that's balance, right? Like that's
Yeah,
it. Like I'm big believer, hence the name of my book, Harmonic Hustle, that's coming out, is like about harmony, right? It's like
right.
you could, and I love jazz. That's my jam. I
Yeah,
love going and see a jazz band. And I believe that, like, let's say God or your creator is the drums, right? Personal growth might be the piano, the horns might be family, community might be the keyboard, and on through instruments, right?
don't forget the
You know,
saxophone.
that's right. Got the saxophone we'll call living environment. Well,
Right,
there's like
right,
8 different pillars, right? 8 different
right.
instruments that I believe and I coach around and I live by. If one of them's out of tune, right? It sounds like junk. But you don't have to be Beethoven. You don't have to be Jimi Hendrix. You don't
Right.
have to be a great sax player. You don't have to be them to tune it up, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, you can just walk, storm, let it go, get in rhythm with the waves, and then tune it up. Right?
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's
yeah.
so good.
It isn't any big thing. It's just a matter of, I think it's like just getting back in touch with yourself
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Because the world problems, your own personal problems, things that happen in life, even just busyness. I have 82 things to do on my to-do list today, can all really cram your mind up.
Yeah.
And then you sit down and try to be creative, and your creativity is like, I don't have space for this.
Yeah. Right. Just
Haven't
hop on a
given
dual bike and ride across the
Yeah,
United
you can ride
States,
across,
right?
and that'll do it. Let me tell you, several hours every day sitting and pedaling with
Yeah.
nothing else going on really does open your mind.
You ride in the front or the back?
The back,
Okay. And tell
yeah,
me, like, I got to ask you, you and Bruce,
yeah,
are you guys pretty compatible for 3,102
yeah.
miles? Or
So
is there
everyone
any like,
calls.
damn it, Bruce, what the I mean, come on,
So
let's be honest here,
okay,
T.
I will, and I was very honest in my book, and I was also very
Yeah.
honest on the blog that I kept the whole way across the United States, which you can find on my website.
That was my
Um,
next question, woman.
yeah,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
So we actually did not fight very much. We learned very, very quickly that riding a tandem bicycle pissed is not fun. Like, who wants to do that? It's horrible. So
Did you say
we
fist?
learned really quickly to fix the problem.
Okay.
What is the problem? Let's fix the problem. We tell
Sure.
everyone that that 3 months of a bicycle ride was like 20 years of marriage. We call
Mm.
it tandem time. So Bruce and I at the time had been married for 1 year. And by the time we were done, we had been married 21.
I love that,
And
dude.
it was in a good way because
Yeah, absolutely.
we figured one another out. We didn't
Yeah.
have to go through all of those years of that back and forth tension crap and burying it under rugs and everything else.
Yeah.
We learned very quickly that you look at the other person as soon as you can do it calmly and nicely. You
Sure.
look at the other person and say, "So that thing you said, I didn't care for it. Here's
Oh,
why."
gotcha.
And then he would have the opportunity to say, "Never thought about it like that." Or, "You're right, I was being sarcastic, I shouldn't
Or
have."
just deal with
Or,
it.
yeah. And then and that's
Sometimes.
okay
Yeah.
too, because no, then
Yes.
you can
There's
say, "Well,
communication.
yeah."
Yes.
But then you can say, "Well, you want me to deal with it, but it reminds me way too much of a crappy marriage I was once in, and I would
Yeah.
prefer not to deal with it. So how are we going to work with this?"
Since you opened the door on this
You
a
know?
little bit, like,
Yeah.
did you hold him to like rules? You know what I'm saying? Like, were you kind
Yeah.
of like rules, expectations, conditions because of what happened in that rearview mirror of your life? And if you don't want to answer it, you don't have
No,
to.
no, 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 no. That's a really good question. I did not. But part of the reason that I did not was because I didn't agree to marry him until I knew that we didn't need those rules.
Ooh, wow, that's amazing.
So he told me who he was.
Sure.
Of course, I did not believe it
Okay. Of
because I didn't believe
course.
anybody would tell the truth.
100%. Yeah.
And I waited and I waited and I waited for him to do something opposite of what he said about himself. And he didn't. He told me from the
Terry,
beginning, I am who I
were you
am.
trying to manifest it?
Oh, I tried really hard. I wanted the other shoe to drop so I could get out of the relationship because I didn't want to be
Yep.
married
I
again,
feel you. I
right?
feel
Like
you. Been there, honey.
I
Been
was
there. Yeah.
terrified, right?
Yeah.
But he told me in the beginning, he said, I am who I am. I'm not more. If you
Hmm.
want more than this, you're going to be disappointed. But I'm
Gotcha.
also not less.
Right. Love that.
No,
It's
if I
transparent, man. I got to
tell
meet
you I'm going to
Bruce.
do
Yeah.
something, I'm going to do it.
Does he
And
play
I was
golf?
like, no, he doesn't. And
Damn it.
unfortunately, he passed away a month ago.
Oh my gosh, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah. He in 20 June of 2022, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma and he was given 8 months. He lived for 31 because he's a Marine and Marines do not give
Yeah,
up.
that's right. They don't die. Yeah.
And he finally realized that this battle wasn't one that he was going to win. And he chose to stop taking chemo in November and he passed away on January 10th.
I'm
So,
sorry. I am so
yeah,
sorry. Wow.
I'm sorry. I probably should have warned you of that in
Yeah.
our pre-show. So,
Yeah. No, I feel you. I get it.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really
No, 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 that's all right.
because
But
you're getting busy living, okay?
yeah,
Like, are
And
you
the best thing really is, I think that sometimes you're given more gifts than what to do with. This book that I wrote is the perfect gift because the very end of a cancer journey is never pretty. And I had a lot of memories that I wished that I didn't have, things I didn't want to focus on, but were like our most recent interactions.
right?
And as soon as I felt able, I started pushing the book again because the book launch was set for February 14th. And I've been on podcasts and I get to talk about these wonderful things that
Yeah.
he and I did together. And it doesn't mean that the medical memories are erased,
No,
but it means that they're no longer the top of mind. And what's
gotcha.
top of mind is this amazing trip that we took
Yeah.
that gave us 20 years of marriage in just 3 months.
Yes. And
So,
with Susan, she's 7 years older. She's 60 and I'll be 53 next week. And we always talk about our time, and that's
yeah,
what we have. And that we met on July 13th of 2019. And when we kind of get into a situation we're not agreeing, I take myself back to July 19th, which was 6, 7 days later when I knew this was the one. And so it's
right.
like I fall in love. So that's an exercise that we kind of do. And it just seems like you and Bruce kind of were consistently, even in the short, valuable time you had, you're given that gift, but you were doing a lot with it.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned you're given a gift you don't know what to do with. And so I have to ask you then, Teri, like, how do you want like your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, which this world needs you. I hope you're not going anywhere soon.
No, I'm not.
But
I'm
on the
not.
tombstone, the dash, like how does
Right.
Teri want her dash remembered?
I think I want people to remember me as someone who I want to give. I want to give of myself. I don't want to be afraid. I want very much to live life. I saw a meme where they said you don't want to be the old lady sitting on the front porch knitting. You want to come in screaming with your hair on fire.
Hell
And I
yeah.
think I think that's I want people to say she lived life to the fullest. She gave everything she had. She loved as hard as she could.
Yeah.
She was kind and giving and loving and adventurous
Yeah.
and willing to try new things and was able to take bad things and put them in the rearview mirror
Yeah.
and keep going despite what life threw at her. That's
That's
kind of
beautiful.
what,
That's
yeah.
beautiful. It so there's a movie that you and I kind of grew up with a little bit. It's going to be 40 years old this year, Back to the Future. Heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh
let's get in
yeah.
that
Is
DeLorean
it
with Marty.
40 years old? Oh,
85. Yeah. Let's get in that
okay.
DeLorean with Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Teri. Okay. Like you've had quite a journey, but what kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not so much to change anything, because everything there was a lesson that you learned and you got
Right.
to meet
Right.
Bruce and stuff like that. But like, what would you tell her, the 22-year-old Teri, maybe to help her shorten a learning curve a little bit?
I think there's two big things that I'd want her to know.
Okay.
The first thing is you're enough. There will be people, there will be experiences, there will be things that push you to believe that you are not enough.
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
is not true.
Very good.
You
Yeah.
are enough just the way you are. It's good to keep learning, it's good to keep growing, but
Sure.
you are enough.
Love it.
And then
Okay.
I think the second thing is you have inside of you everything you need.
Yeah.
You just have to tap into it.
Yeah.
And maybe you need to learn to tap into it.
Yeah.
It may be that you have it and you don't know where it's residing,
Yeah.
but it's there in you that
Yeah.
we have in us. You want to ride across the United States on a tandem bicycle? I hadn't been on a bicycle in 40
I
years
was
when
gonna
Bruce and I
say,
met.
dude, I would love to have seen it. Yeah.
Okay? Like I hadn't I was
Yeah.
I was overweight, significantly overweight.
Yeah.
I I I wasn't in shape in well, unless round is a shape. I really wasn't a shape.
Right.
I couldn't the idea of being on a bicycle seat as a
Yeah.
woman
Sure.
unfit, like this is crazy talk,
Right.
except I wanted it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
because I wanted it, I overcame the obstacles.
Yes.
And that all
Yeah.
came from inside of me.
Yeah.
And that isn't I'm not unique.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants it
Yeah.
will work to overcome the obstacles. And so it's just a matter of how do you tap into that.
Love
That's what I
that.
would tell my 22-year-old.
I love that. And like, if you don't know something, like my good friend Leah Woodford says, get your asking gear. Like, there's people there
Yeah,
that will share it with you, but you also
absolutely.
had a desire, whether you're round or whatever it was, but you had a desire. And then obviously it was backed by teamwork and faith
Yeah,
with Bruce and a persistence that kind of didn't recognize failure for 3,102 miles. That's
exactly.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So I got to ask you, what do you think people might misunderstand the most about Terry?
I don't know. I think that if you me, but only know me like from church,
Sure.
or you only know me from that, you don't get the whole picture.
Okay.
And you might know me, I don't know, as old or sad or afraid, because
Different
I am all
versions
of
of
those
you.
things,
Sure. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But I'm not just that thing.
Right.
And I think I want people to that maybe they misunderstand that, or see me as an abused woman.
Sure. Right.
And
Understandable. Yeah.
that's
For
not what I
people to see it.
am.
Yeah.
It's something that happened to me,
Sure. Yeah.
but it
But
isn't
it's
what
not
I am.
happening to you.
Right.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah.
not only that, it's not what I am, and it isn't even what I was.
Okay.
It was a situation that I was in, but it wasn't who I was.
Right.
It's who he was. I didn't know how to get out of that situation, but
Hmm.
it wasn't who I was. And I think maybe that would be it, is that people tend to look at you from whatever lens they're looking at you,
Sure.
and they see what they want to see
Right.
or need to see.
Right.
Currently, right now, what I am is a widow. And so
Sure.
what I get a lot are people who come up real close and look sideways and say, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Because that's what they're focusing on.
Sure.
And although there is that, I am a widow, and I am sad, and I am grieving, and I am trying to figure out what life's going to be. I'm also an author and a podcaster and
Kick ass. Well, sorry, but you are. Oh,
and all of those things too. And
yeah.
so there's more to me than tilt the head and ask me how I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's so transparent. That is so awesome. That is beautiful. Yeah. How about what is your, I think I know the answer to this. Well, what is your definition of a life well lived?
Yeah, giving it what you have.
So I was expecting
Like
you to say give it
like
all.
yeah,
Leave it
like
all there.
just leave it all on the table. I don't want to die regretting what I might have, could have, should have, would have. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have those things.
We
But
can
I
shit all
can't, I
over
can't.
ourselves,
Right,
you
right.
know?
I can't look back on
Yeah.
my life and say, "Oh, there isn't anything I wish I had done differently." I don't mean that, but I mean I don't want to die with a bucket list with 82 things on
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
bucket
Just
lists.
do it. Do
Like
stuff.
like do it. In fact, if there's something on your bucket list, take a look at it. Do you really want it? If so, today, right now,
Do it.
figure out what's the first
Plan
step
it.
you're going to
Yeah.
make toward making it
Love
happen.
it.
Like I couldn't go on a tandem bicycle ride the day after I made that decision.
Right.
Like I had things I had to do that
Sure.
had to get done, but you have to start somewhere. So what is that?
Right. And get
You
it
know?
in ink or on paper or something so you
Yeah.
can see it and plan it. That's another thing
And
with
start
people.
doing
Yeah.
it. And if it isn't worth that to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
take it off the bucket list. It
Love
is
it.
not worth it.
Yep. Yep.
You you do not get promise that that time that you think that you're going to get is going to happen. It may or may not. You
Yep.
may not get it. Do it
Yeah.
now. If it is something that means enough to you to put on a list, then go start doing it. And
Yep.
if you're not going to start doing it, get it off your
Yeah.
list. You do not want to die with that
Yeah. It
that
becomes an
hanging over your
anchor.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Terry, like next time, I'm in the Carolinas a lot. I speak a lot in the
Oh,
Carolinas. So
awesome.
when I'm
Come
up near
visit.
Myrtle Beach, we have a coffee session set up. And don't be surprised if you have no brain left for me picking it for some fictional characters. Okay.
Fantastic.
But I'll buy
Absolutely.
the coffee. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So we will probably talk about a few of these questions and we'll talk about maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes each. But today, you have five
Today,
seconds. You have 5 seconds, no explanations, and I promise they can all be answered that way. You ready to
perfect.
level up?
I'm going to
Yeah,
try
you
my
are.
best.
Yeah, you are, girl. Here we go. Terry, what is the best leveling up advice you feel you've ever received?
But don't quit on a bad day.
Yes. That's amazing. That's killer, dude. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I make lists and then I cross out what I've done violently because it feels good.
That's beautiful. So, other than your stack of books, What other, if you were to see me kind of walking down the street, I look like I'm in my doldrums a little bit, right? For Fergie, read this. What book might you hand me that maybe lifted you up, other than the good book, the Bible?
The War of Art.
Good, very good. I know that book. I haven't read it. Actually, I think it's
Yeah.
sitting over there, but thank you. Your most commonly used emoji, if any, when you text.
Oh, the big smiley face with the hard eyes.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Buffy.
Okay, love it. Okay. Headline for your life.
Watch out, here she comes.
Love it. What is any do you have any hidden talent or superpower that nobody knows about until now?
I have a mom glare that can really scare people like into just stopping.
Love it. Want to
It,
share
it's
it
it's
for my
pretty intense.
Vimeo and my YouTube? There you go. Yeah, that would get to me if I was a child. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
I hate Monopoly. Probably chess, but I'm not super good at it.
Yeah. Okay. Lean into any superstitions at all?
There are yes and no. I don't really believe,
Me neither. I don't
but
like the number 13, but it's
yeah,
like
but I mean,
I know there's
there's the
other.
number that it's Friday the 13th. Am I a
Yeah.
little more careful on that day? Oh, I might just be a little. Yeah.
Go to ice cream flavor.
Oh, mint chocolate chip.
Awesome. There's a sandwich called the Buffy Boo. Build that sandwich for me. What are we eating?
Oh, so it's gonna have all the meats on it, like two or three different cheeses, a couple of different mustards, and then as many vegetables as you can stick on top of it, except for onions.
How about
No
some man
onions.
candy? Any bacon on it?
Oh, sure, that's
All
part
right.
of the that isn't that part of the meat?
That's absolutely right. That's awesome. We are besties now. Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time and or money to?
Toys for Tots,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I was you're going to say that. Last question. We can elaborate on this one a little bit. Best decade of music: 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh my gosh. That's really hard for me
It's a
because I
loaded one, right?
no, but I love music, and so
Mhm.
we could go back to 40s and 50s music
Okay.
as well. So I love it all. But right now I'm going to say 60s.
Okay.
It's what my husband loved the most, and so we listened to a lot of the 60s music
Yeah.
whenever he was just needing music in the house.
Yeah.
So,
It's great
yeah.
storytelling. 60s and
Yeah.
70s are great storytelling.
Yeah,
Now the 80s, because
absolutely.
I graduated high school in 1990, it's like the 80s, there's a lot of invasions from Britain with U2
Right.
or
Right, right,
Ireland or
right.
Men at Work. So there's a lot that happened in that. So I'm probably in 80s, but if I'm editing a podcast or I'm writing, I listen to the 70s because
Yeah.
and I lean into kind of like the Gordon Lightfoots and the
Yes.
people that are storytellers, Croce and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the 60s
Yeah.
is the jam too. I mean, just so much happened in
Yeah.
those 3 decades. So
But I also really love 40s music because I love the idea of the ballroom dancing. And you listen to that big band stuff and
yep.
all of the romantic stuff that comes into my mind as you're whirling around on a dance floor. So yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I love music.
Well, I will edit this out if you do not feel comfortable, but do you feel
Okay.
that you'll love again?
I don't have an answer to that at this
Okay,
time.
that's no
Um,
problem. Thank you
no,
for even answering.
my initial response is no.
Mhm.
I'll never get married again.
Okay.
My mother who's in her 80s said, please don't say that.
Okay. No, thank you for even answering. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And again, if you want
Yeah.
it off mic, you tell me to edit it
No,
out,
no,
let me
no.
know. Okay.
No, it's
So
fine. It's
c-
fine.
can you tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, my website is the best place to go. So it's my name, Teri M. Brown. That's Terry with one R. There you'll be able to find my books. You'll be able to find my podcast,
Okay.
all my social media. I have a contact page. I have a newsletter. So definitely reach right out on any of that, and I would love to chat with you.
Very good. And Squad, if you're watching, I kind of put it on the screen there where you can find her as well. And I am going to do actually let's make it a three. Is it going to come out in Kindle as well?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do a 3 physical book giveaway and a 2 Kindle book giveaway. The first 3 people that put in, or 5 people, I guess it would be, we'll call it sore butt. Put in sore butt into, I don't care if it's Pinterest, Instagram, text it to 561-440-3830. Put in sore butt, and I will make sure that and tell me what you'd like, the Kindle or the actual physical book, and I will get it mailed out on time to shine today's dime. And Miss Terry, do me one last solid, please, and leave us with
Mhm.
one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Yeah, I think I've kind of like given the big one that I usually tell people is like, don't have a bucket list. So
I
another
just want to
big
end it with
one.
don't quit on a bad day. I think that
Yeah.
is the most like
Yeah. Okay.
fantastic. Yeah.
So don't quit on a bad day was something that was told to me when I was riding.
Okay.
It was a horrible day. It was 70 miles. We had a flat tire 3 times. There were mosquitoes the size of your fist. The wind was blowing the wrong way, and I was done.
Yeah.
We got to the end of the day, and it was like, we've made it over the Rockies. We've done the hard part. I'm done. I want to go home. This isn't fun anymore. And I put that on my blog, and I had a friend reach out and say, hey, what you've done is amazing. And if you quit
Yeah.
today, you've still done an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But don't quit on a bad day. You'll
Wow.
always wonder if you could have gone on. I recommend that you stop, take a little break, give yourself time to like get over this big emotional upheaval.
Mm,
And then if you still want to quit, it's probably the right thing to do.
love it. Give it some time
And
to decompress
we,
and
of
really lean
course,
into
went
it.
on and finished the
Sure.
ride.
Love this. And squad, I just interviewed an author. Usually I'm bringing on coaches, consultants, but this woman, which I'm going to talk to her off mic, needs to be a coach. I mean, there's just absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She was terrified of being an author, but she leaned into her passion. And especially coming out of an abusive relationship, she never really had a voice. To be able to put the voice on paper is something that just it astounds me. It's just amazing that she's able to do that. She was married to a fantastic man, Bruce, who chased her until she caught him, which I think that's just beautiful. Stuck around. He was a lucky man. 3,102. What a great number. And she knew that she did that. She could do anything. Characters were living in her head that she knew she had to get out. And remember that metaphor of them standing in the corner with their arms folded, kind of judging her in a sense, but trusting her as well. And she reminded us that logical is not as fun as creative. Great books are emotional. Get invested. See what your characters are seeing. Get out. Writer's block is a junk word to both her and I. And let your creative side out. Go walking, start storming, find harmony in the waves or even nature and listen and find that. I mean, this woman is planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of. And I respect people like that. She's doing it for the intention, not the attention. She could be on, listen, me, dude, I rode 3,102 miles, but she's not. She's putting it out there as part of a story of time and bonding and great memories with her man, Bruce. That you're given more of a gift than what to do with. Everything kind of is a gift. Lean into those. She's going to be remembered as somebody that kind of slid across, I'm going to use sports metaphor, slid across home plate, bumped and bruised, but not afraid anymore, and she loved hard. And those are, again, the people that, squad, we want to surround ourselves with. Remind yourself that you are enough. You have everything you need. And if you don't, you need to learn something. Get your asking gear and go out and find somebody. And if you want to be put in touch with Teri, I'm sure she'd allow me to make a warm introduction to you. And that she had the desire and a persistence that didn't recognize failure and the desire to bond with Bruce and just know that she didn't quit on a bad day, because you will always wonder if you didn't. And she has that memory that she gets to hold close to her heart. And I absolutely love this woman's gut. She's leveled up her health. She's leveled up her wealth. You got your varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, Teri. And
Thank
I
you so
can't wait
much
to
for having
keep
me.
this friendship going.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.